to my kitchen. Happy Friday. I hope you're all well. Hello everybody. I'm going to say my usual hellos, make sure that everybody who's wanting to join us has time to join us. Thank you for joining me. I hope everybody's had a good week. It's been glorious here, beautiful sunshine, lots of lovely weather, which is always nice. I hope everybody's well. As I always say, please do give me a wave, say hello to me, let me know where you are tuning in from, because it's just lovely for me to be able to say hello to you, and also just find out where you are in the world, because there's so many of you that tune in and it's just a nice way to interact. So today we are making butter chicken, the classic butter chicken, or Murgh Makhani. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a very classic restaurant style dish served worldwide. It's a really lovely creamy tomato sauce, and I'm going to show you some little tricks of the trade in how you put that dish together. But before I launch into that, I want to take a bit of time to say hello. So let me know if you're cooking with me, let me know if you're just watching, give me a shout out, give me a little wave, and I will say hello.
Richard is in Florida.
Hi Richard in Florida, lovely to have you join us. Oh, apparently, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can. It's just
yeah. Give me 2 seconds. Who else can we say hello to?
Saudi Arabia, Sudan.
Hi Sue, lovely to have you join us.
We've got people from Lebanon, Austin, Texas, Christine.
Hi Christine, are you joining us from around the corner? We've got people from Texas.
Steve and Dave from Virgin are here.
Steve and Dave, hello Steve, I hope you've got a drinky. Happy Friday. Look, I haven't got my Prosecco. I'll be on it later, don't worry. I'm having a little Pimm's just to get me going. Who else have we got?
We've got
who was that? Sambo
Coyle.
Sambo Coyle from Saudi Arabia. Hello, lovely to have you join us. How you doing?
DC Morris is in.
Hi DC Morris.
Kenya. Someone's from Kenya.
People from Kenya. Who? Cape Town, oh my God, all over the place. Lovely to have you join us. Thank you and welcome. Welcome to my kitchen, and welcome to the Friday Curry Club. So those of you who are joining us for the first time ever, it's just an opportunity really for me to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I do in terms of cooking and the dishes and how I put dishes together. It's a great opportunity for you guys to just ask me questions, and I will answer as much as I can live on air. If I can't do it, I do always go back and I will answer the questions later on after we're done. So as I said, we're cooking Murgh Makhani, or butter chicken, which is a beautiful dish. I love it. It's one of my favorites. The kids absolutely love it. So it's quite a smooth, it's a really delicate sauce. Now this preparation, hang on.
To Isabel, age 8.
Hi Isabel, we've got a lovely 8-year-old. Hi Isabel, who's 8, watching. Lovely to have you join us.
If possible, can you give some tips about Ramadan?
I will try. Okay, so the for this dish is that we'll make a sauce, which is a very heavy tomato-based sauce, and then we're going to marinate the chicken. I'm going to show you a very quick marinade to do. We'll pop that into the oven. Get that cooking through, get it a little bit charred, and then I'll show you how to put all of that together. So this prep that I'm going to show you today is the one that I learnt to do in Tamarind when I worked there. So it's a Michelin starred preparation of butter chicken, so it's going to be good. Okay, so we're going to get cooking. Please let me know if you're cooking with me, because I can then sort of try and pace myself so that I don't go too quickly. If it's not if I'm not going quick enough, I can speed myself up and so on. So let me know if you're cooking with me, let me know if you're just watching, but all the way throughout, please do ask questions, shout, and we'll get going. So, to let you know where we've got going on, I'm going to start by doing the masala, or the tomato sauce, first. And for that, we've got some beautiful, beautiful fresh tomatoes. If you don't have fresh tomatoes, it doesn't matter. You can just use a tin of plum tomatoes or chopped tomatoes, whatever you've got at the moment. We've also got some garlic, some ginger. I've got some chilies. These are finger chilies, which are iconically used in Indian cooking. So they're long, thin and slender, and they're quite pokey, sort of fairly generally pokey. I've got a couple of red onions, and then I've got my spices. So in my spice bowl here, I've got some green cardamom, which are these lovely, beautiful little things. We've got some cloves, I've got some black peppercorns, and I've got some cassia bark. And we talked quite a lot about that last week. So those are my spices. So I'm going to get my pan on first of all. For those of you who didn't see the latest update on my social media, I did decide very, very last minute to do some naan as well. So I'm going to cook some naan after we've done this. And I did put a recipe up just so that you could get your dough and everything prepped beforehand. If you haven't done it, it's fine. I'll just talk you through it. But I'm going to show you how to make some restaurant-style naan at home. Okay.
Can we just stop? It sounds really crackly.
Is anyone having any sound problems? I'm just going to go and... Is that better? Okay, we think it's just rubbing on my top and it's making crackly sounds. So sorry if the sound isn't as clear as it normally is. It might just be my top. Apologies, but it's so beautiful. Anyway, right, so my pan is on and into that. Now this kind of cooking is my kind of cooking because it's easy. So what I'm going to do, I've got my garlic cloves, I've got 5 here, they're going to go into the pan. I've got some fresh ginger, which I'm just going to very roughly chop up. That's going into the pan. I'm going to, oh no, look, I've thrown it into my spice tin. Oh dear, it's all going wrong today. Right. That goes in. I'm going to put in 3 chilies, and obviously, as I always say, with chilies, just cook to whatever suits your palate. If it's too, if you want something a little bit more mild, just reduce the number of chilies. If you want something hotter, then just add a few more chilies. Okay, so ginger, garlic, chilies have gone in there. I'm going to very roughly chop up those 2 onions just into rough pieces. That's going in. Same with the second one. That goes in. Right, get rid of those bits. And then the tomatoes, very, very easy. Same principle, roughly chop them up and they're going to go in. There are lots and lots of different methods, and lots of different people have different methods to cook these dishes, but this, I have to say, is probably one of the easiest and one of the most delicious ways of cooking butter chicken. So I'm going to use, how many have I put in there? 3, 4. So there's no oil in the pan. Yes, sorry, I didn't mention that. No oil goes into here at all. It's just those ingredients, and what's going to happen is they are just going to bubble away and they are going to break down, and then with a hand blender we're going to blitz them all up to make a lovely tomato masala sauce. Okay. Now, as I said, if you've just got tinned tomatoes, you literally just chuck in your tin of tomatoes into the pan and let that just do its thing. Okay, give that a little stir. You can already smell it's going to be amazing. So into that, I'm going to add all of these spices. So as I said, I've got my green, and then I've got cloves, cassia, I've got a little stir. Now, if you feel that because of the tomatoes, sometimes it can feel a little bit dry. It really depends on how ripe your tomatoes are. So if your tomatoes don't feel that ripe, you might need to put a little splash of water in just to get everything going. But if they're quite ripe, you know, and quite juicy, then you probably don't need to do that. But just have a look. It really depends on the ingredients that you've got. So we add that last bit of juice in there, and then I'm also going to put in some salt. Okay. I've just had a question come through just to re-clarify, and I'm going to show you what my pan looks like whilst I've got it in here. So it looks like a little bit of a mush in there, which is exactly what we want. So in there, I have put some salt. Are we back? I think we're having a little bit of a few technical issues today, unlike the last couple of weeks. Bit of a shame. Are we back? Are we back?
Yeah, people saying yes.
Please just give me a shout out if you can see me and hear me. Let me know, because I think we're having a few little difficulties. So just in the pan. And then we're going to that is amazing. Everyone got a little tipple? It is Friday. Okay. So what I'm going to do is we're going to marinate. With this dish, in the recipe that's on the website, I tend not to marinate the chicken, but I think it's a really lovely way of cooking the dish, because it's almost like a tandoori style marinade. We're just going to infuse lots of flavours into the chicken, and then we're going to roast that, and we're going to do it quite high so we get a little bit of a char on it, and it basically is to resemble chicken that's been cooked in a tandoor oven, so you get that lovely smokiness. So I'm going to do a very, very, very quick tandoori marinade.
Recap everything.
What's that? So we're getting
Just
questions.
recap everything that you've done previously, just really quickly.
Okay, so just to recap again, all I've done, kept it really simple. In my pan, all I've done in there is I've put in tomatoes, I've put in onion, I've put in chillies, garlic, ginger, and I've just chopped them up really, really roughly and just chucked them in. I've added into there some spices, so I've put in green cardamom, I've put in cassia bark, I've put in black peppercorns and cloves, and that's all I've done. I've literally put it in there, a little splash of water just to get it going, and that is simmering away, if you can see that, and that's just going to stay on the hob, and it's just going to do its thing. I've got it on a fairly sort of gentle heat, just so it's bubbling and simmering. Got the lid on, I'm going to let that cook. While that's doing its thing, I'm going to do a very quick marinade, and this is a tandoori style marinade, and it's just going to infuse lots of flavour into the meat. So what I've got here is some yogurt, just a tablespoon or so, just a little bit more. Now, for the meat that I'm using here, I've got a mixture of chicken thighs and chicken breast. The only reason I'm doing that is because the kids want chicken breast. I prefer thigh, so I've just done a mixture. All I've done is just chop it up into sort of bite-sized chunks, and I'm going to mix all of that in. So into my yogurt, I'm going to put some lemon juice. Don't worry if you get your pips out, it doesn't really matter. Not too bothered. So that goes in, and then I'm going to chop up some garlic and ginger. So I'm just going to very quickly just dice that up quickly as possible. Get that in. If you've got pestle and mortar, which you can just put all of these bits in there and just bash it, just to get it nice and small. The smaller you get it, obviously, the more flavour you get infusing into the meat. So chop that up. There we go. If you wanted to, you could grate it, you could put it into a blender, whatever you want to do, really.
What knife do you use?
What knife do I use?
And what pot are you using?
And what?
Pot.
So yeah, I get asked a lot about knives and various bits and pieces. So this is just a Japanese knife that I like to use. I like to use fairly smallish knives because I don't like great big knives because I've got quite small hands. I do like the Japanese Sentoko knife. I think that's quite it's just a really easy knife to use. It's really nicely weighted. So that's my knife of choice. I have, actually, I'll show you. This is a knife I made last year. I went to a blacksmith. I spent 2 days with a blacksmith and I made that. And it's the best thing I've ever done. So if you ever get the opportunity to go make your own knife, I highly, highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and it's just a bit of a giggle. Gets you back down to getting mucky and doing stuff that's out of your comfort zone. It's great fun. Okay, so I've got my garlic chopped up. That's going in there.
And what red pot is this?
Oh, the red pot, it's not even a special red pot, I just like the colour. If you are going to invest in a pot, I would suggest, especially for these kinds of dishes, I would suggest that you go for a nice sort of cast iron, solid cast iron pot, because the way they radiate the heat back into the pan is just amazing. So something like in the Crusade, doesn't have to obviously be in the Crusade, but a nice sort of cast iron pan. This one is a Pyrex actually, and it is really good. I do like it, but I do like the colour more. Okay, so in here I've got my ginger, I've got my garlic, I've got lemon juice, I've got some yogurt, and then I'm going to add my spices. So I've got some Kashmiri chilli powder, that lovely red Kashmiri chilli powder, which is going to give a beautiful colour. I'm also going to add some garam masala, and as I said before, that's half a teaspoon. So I get lots of people telling me that I'm saying one thing and doing something else. It's because I'm using a different size spoon. So just mix that through, and into that I'm going to add, as always, a little splash of mustard oil. We've talked about mustard oil before. If you don't want to use mustard oil, that's absolutely fine. Just go for a nice rapeseed oil. Just go for whatever you've got in your cupboard, but keep your olive oil for other dishes. Really, there's no real point using that. Okay, so there's my marinade. Really, really quick, really simple, beautiful, nice sort of reddy pink colour. And then we're just going to add our chicken into that. So the chicken goes in. Get rid of that.
Do you think it's worth it buying dehydrated onion and garlic and then rehydrate them, or just use onion and garlic powder if you can't make a whole?
So I've never ever bought dehydrated onion or garlic. So just in answer to your question, it's not something that I would do. I would probably more likely miss it out. If you can get hold of onion is an absolute basic when it comes to Indian food. You do need to have onion. I've never, as I said, tried to rehydrate onion. I do know some kits and things that you can get, they have rehydrated onion. I don't really have an opinion on it, if I'm completely honest, because it's not something that I would do. I am a firm believer in, if you haven't got it, just miss it out. But onion, I would always keep a store of onions, because for the kind of food that this is, you know, that I'm talking about, it's really, really important. What was the other part of that question?
Or just use onion and garlic powder.
So onion powder, I don't mind. Garlic powder is great. Like garlic mushrooms and things like that. I think garlic powder is brilliant. So just keep some of these items in your store cupboard because they will come in handy. So yeah. The only thing with onion powder is it's never going to give you the consistency that onions will give you. So it's a very different product. Okay, so look at that. That's my chicken. Now that's going in the oven at 200 degrees C. And I'm going to let that cook and just, I don't want it to cook through, I want it to get a little bit of a sear on it, I want it to get a little bit of colour to it. And then once that's done, we'll get that out. Okay, so if I just have a little clear down. If anybody's got any questions, please keep them coming in and I will do my best to answer them just as I have a little tidy up. Okay, if you are cooking with me, are you still with me? Can you just give me an okay or a not okay or slow down or whatever you want me to do? So give me a bit of an indication, that does help. I'm going to come back to my pan and I'm going to show you what it looks like now. So we'll give it a little stir.
Is it best to marinate overnight?
So the question is it best to marinate overnight? I am a firm believer in it really depends on what you're trying to do. So if, for a dish like this, if you come home in the week and you think, do you know what, this is what I fancy, then marinate the chicken, chuck it in the oven, cook it, eat it, it's going to be great. If you are doing a big family barbecue and you want to show off a little bit and you've got the time and you've got time to prep and plan and you're doing tandoori chicken, for example, then absolutely marinate it overnight, it is better. It's not necessarily true the longer you marinate the better it is. All you're doing when you're marinating is you are trying to infuse flavour into that meat. And you're using ingredients that are going to start to break down that meat so that you can infuse the flavour into there. So yogurt is a really good flavour carrier, which is why we tend to use it a lot. It also protects the chicken or protects the meat that it's coating. Other ingredients, so lemon juice starts that cooking process. There's lots and lots of different things. So don't ever think, oh, you know, if I marinate it for 3 weeks or whatever, it's going to be amazing. It really depends on what it is and what you're trying to achieve. So be sensible. If you think actually tonight I fancy that, then don't not do it because you think, oh, I should have marinated it overnight. It's not always the case. Okay, so looking at my sauce so far, all of that juice has come through and it's starting to cook down. So I'm going to turn that up. The way that I usually guess that it's done is I will have a look at my garlic and I will try and squidge it on the side of the pan, very technical term, just squish it on the side of your pan. If it squishes, I'll show you, whoopsie, if it squishes, you see, then it means that your masala is pretty much done. So I'm just going to let that come back up to temperature and we're going to start on the next part of this dish, which is, or can be a little bit messy. Just make sure all of your tomatoes that are in there are cooked down, because fresh tomatoes, if that's what you're using, can take a little bit longer, but not a huge amount longer. The other thing that I will say is if you're using fresh tomato, your dish may not come... With a lot of these dishes, it's not just about flavour, it's how it looks as well. So this dish, butter chicken, is supposed to have a real vibrancy, a real colour to it. And sometimes if you're using fresh tomatoes and they're not that ripe, you will not get that colour coming through. So it's always a good idea to just use a little bit of tomato puree as well if you're using fresh tomatoes. If you're using tinned tomatoes, you probably won't have that problem because they will already have that lovely colour coming through. So just a little handy little tip tomato puree is your friend.
Steve from Virgin said, would you sprinkle blue cheese on your dessert?
Steve, you are hilarious. You make me laugh. So, I've got a colleague of mine that I work with who's watching at the moment, and we've had this discussion on many occasions. And this is one of his favourite dishes, which is why he's tuned in. So, thank you, Steve, for joining us. But, and I think it's his partner that normally cooks it for him, and he apparently gets an amazing butter chicken. So, well done, Dave, on that. But Steve likes it done in a certain way. So once it's done and it's finished and he's just about to serve it, he sprinkles in blue cheese, and apparently he lifts it. Now I've never tried this blue cheese with a butter chicken before, so it's something that I'm gonna have to give it a go, aren't I? I'm gonna have to try it. So I won't be finishing mine with blue cheese, but if you want to, then please, by all means, give it a go. Let me know. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think.
David said Steve's very wrong. How often do you make this dish?
So if I'm completely honest, I tend to cook this dish probably at least once a week. And what I do, so one of the things that I'm quite good at, I think, is that whenever I cook a dish like this, I will always make one for the evening and then one for the freezer. So what I tend to do is I will bulk up on the sauce, and I will use half of it on the day that I'm cooking it, and then half of the sauce I'll just freeze. And then when I come home from work and I'm tired and I know the kids are going to want something quick, just get some chicken, take the sauce out of the freezer, heat it, add the chicken, and it's done. So it's a really lovely way to sort of...
What are your go-to dishes that you think you make most often?
So what are my go-to dishes? So my go-to dishes, one of them has to be my curry chicken. If you haven't seen that, there is a video on YouTube for it. So it's curry, which means in a sauce. So it's a chicken curry made with chicken on the bone, and it's my basic chicken curry dish, and I cook that quite a lot. What else do I cook? Oh, I cook all kinds of crazy things. And if you've been watching my Instagram over the last few weeks, I've been doing this thing where I'm asking you guys to give me inspiration from the countries that you're from. Let me know of a classic dish from that region, and I'll try and cook it. So far we were in Indonesia this week. We did a rendang pork curry, which was amazing. We've been to China. We've made some Szechuan ribs. Where else have we been? We've been to Morocco. We did a tagine. Where else? Oh, Jamaica. We made some Jamaican patties, which were amazing. I've also done some jerk chicken, which blew my head off, which was really, really nice. So I'm doing this little thing where I'm going globe-trotting and cooking all this stuff, and then hopefully being able to share that with you guys. But in terms of what I cook on a day-to-day basis, there's always got to be at least 2-3 times a week a curry of some kind. Quite often do a spicy pasta. And what else do I tend to do? I quite like things like halloumi salads, soup. I'm a big soup person. Yeah, I like my soup. My daughter's just saying to me, soup. I do like to make soups and things like that as well.
Can you reiterate why? Is there a reason why spices do not get fried at the beginning?
Can I reiterate? So I've just had a question. So okay. Why I haven't fried the spices at the beginning. If I'm completely honest, I don't think this dish needs it, that's why. There's no point making yourself extra work when you don't need to do it. And as I said, this was a technique that I learnt at the restaurant, and it's something that I just think works really, really well. There are lots of different ways of using spices. It's not just about toasting them or frying them at the beginning. Some spices or some dishes you will boil your spices before you use them. It really depends on what you're looking for from that dish. Okay, so my sauce and my onions and everything is cooked down, and all I'm going to do is pop that into a jug here because I'm going to blitz it. The one thing that you must remember to do whenever you are doing this dish is, and I go back to the point about it's not just about flavour, it's about how it looks. So when you're cooking this dish, you must remove the cassia bark, before you blitz it. And the reason for that is you can blitz it, it's not a problem to blitz it, but what that will do is make the sauce really dark, and what we want it to be is really vibrant and colourful. So just make sure you get rid of your cassia bark because it's done what you wanted it to do.
How long have you cooked the sauce for?
So the sauce has been cooking, it's real time cooking, I'd say 15, 20 minutes, so not very long. Okay.
And then someone's asked what time's it going to be and how far in advance would you start cooking the dish?
So this, I would say from start to end, if you were just at home cooking this from scratch, I would say you would be able to do this easily in 40 minutes. So there's not a lot of prep work that needs to be done because you saw what I did. There was no fine slicing and dicing and chopping. It was literally chuck it all into a pan and boil it. Doesn't really take that much to do that. Okay, so I have now put in the sauce into a jug, and the reason I've done that is I'm going to blitz it. Now I could just blitz it straight in the pan, that's absolutely fine.
Did you take the whole spices out of the jug as well?
No, the whole spices are in here. The only spice I've taken out is the cassia bark. As I said, you could blitz it in there. I'm doing it in this because I have done that many times, and I have had lots of accidents. As you can imagine, it literally goes everywhere. So to be sensible, I've put it into a jug, and I'm just going to use a hand blender to blitz the sauce up. So if you can't hear me because I'm blitzing, let it do its thing.
Help, I can't find my cassia bark.
Is you lost your cassia bark in the pan, you mean? It's a little bit of a hazard. It's fine, if you spoon it out you will find it, unless it's tiny little pieces. In which case, just blitz it in there, it's fine. Okay. Now this bit, if you've got a blender, you could just put it into your blender or liquidizer and just blitz it that way. I just find it's just easier with a handheld blender because you can just sort of see what you're doing. And it was done on purpose to reflect. No, it wasn't at all. I'm joking. I quite like this colour. I'm quite a red, quite a orangey person. I don't know what that says about my personality, but I'm sure somebody will know and give me details. Okay. Now when you're blitzing, now remember what you've put in here. You've got cassia, no you haven't got cassia, you've got black peppercorns in here, and they will have softened during the cooking, but what you don't want to do is miss any of those. So just make sure it's blitzed up nicely. Sudine, are you cooking with me today? Because this was a recipe that you asked me about, wasn't it, recently? We haven't done our do we know who the furthest person away is that's tuned in today?
Have we got
Canada? So we had Canada, Cape Town. So I want to know who the furthest person away is. So let me know where you are tuning in from because it's always good fun. Right. Okay, so there we go. That's all we need to do. I'm just going to give that a little shake. I'm going to pop that over there.
Sue's not cooking. She did it a couple of weeks back and then did a chicken cat crazy. I don't know what
Jalfrezi, chicken jalfrezi.
Jalfrezi.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you what the sauce looks
Mac
like.
crazy combination of
That's what it looks like. Okay? Now, step 2, or 3 actually.
someone else. Where's the chicken?
Right. The chicken's in the oven, so I'm just going to have a quick look at it before I move on. Let's have a quick look. So there's a lot of moisture that's come out of this, which is fine, not a problem. But I want to get a little bit of colour on my chicken. It's coming along nicely. So give that a little mix if you're cooking. I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. So there's a lot of moisture in there, but it doesn't matter. It smells amazing actually, it's really good. But look at the colour on that, that's what we're looking for. I'm going to still put that back in because I want a little bit of a char to the chicken. Right, so to finish the sauce off, what we're going to do is we are going to use a little bit of ghee. I love ghee. It's not everyone's favourite thing, but ghee. So this is butter chicken. It's about butter, it's about creaminess, it's about that lovely, velvety, luxurious sauce. So we're going to add some ghee straight into here. And I would say about a tablespoon. I've been a little bit heavy-handed, but that's because I read for a run this morning, so it's okay.
What can you substitute for ghee?
If you haven't got ghee or you don't want to use ghee, just use oil. That's absolutely fine. You can use half oil and half butter. If you go back to the name of this dish is butter chicken, so it is about that creaminess and the butteriness. So it is always good to add a little bit of butter, or you can finish it with butter. So once a dish is finished, you can add a little bit of butter in there just to add that in. Or, as I said, if you don't want to do that, it's fine. Just use ghee. Just use oil. Okay, so I've got my oil heating up in there, and I'm going to add. And this does sound excessive. I did get somebody emailing me this morning saying, seriously, a tablespoon of cumin seeds. This is quite a saucy dish. It's a lot of sauce, a lot of gravy in there, so it does need that kick of cumin. If you don't want to put that much in there, just start by just putting a teaspoon in there, and then you can, the next time you make it, you can bulk it up if you want to. But for me, I'm going to add a tablespoon of cumin seeds. Now I'm toasting my spices here, just to add that lovely aromatic. Now, whenever you're toasting spices, what you're waiting for is for them to become aromatic. As soon as they become aromatic, you go in with your next ingredient. So as soon as you can smell them, that's when you need to add your next ingredient. Really coming through. You can really smell that ghee as well, which is just lovely. It's lovely. Okay. Now I did mention this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. If at this point you burn your spices, throw them away and start again. There's nothing you can do to get rid of that burnt aromatic, so just throw them away and start again. It's just not worth ruining the dish that you've spent so much time cooking. Right, so into that I'm going to add my blitzed up sauce. Now be very, very, very careful at this point, because when you put this into that pan, it's going to almost turn into like lava, and it's going to and it's going to be really thick. So just be very, very careful. Do it really, really gently. Give it a stir. Make sure you get everything out. Don't want to lose any of the lovely, lovely sauce. There we go. Okay. Just pop that over here. Just going to rinse my hands. So that's on a gentle heat. I don't want it to go crazy. I just want it to simmer away. Now you'll see that the ghee is shimmery on top. You just need to mix that in, blend that in.
Someone's asked, do you keep an eye on the chicken's internal temperature? Is everything there?
Everything, so with the chicken, I'm not worried about it cooking in the oven, because it's all going to go into this sauce and it's going to finish in the sauce. So all I want is a little bit of a char to it, it will finish its cooking in the sauce. So let's have another little look. I think it's a little bit longer. Okay, so my sauce, let me just show you what it looks like. So it's starting to get that lovely look of butter chicken. It's lovely, thick, luxurious sauce. Now into here, we are going to add a few spices. So I'm going to put in some coriander seeds. If you've got ground spices, you can just use ground spices, but I'm going to use, what I tend to do is I buy these kinds of spices whole and I'll grind them as and when I need them. So I've got coriander seeds, and what coriander seeds do is they add a little bit of a zing. It's almost like a slight lemony freshness. So with a dish like this, that's sort of creamy and could be heavy, it's really nice to have a spice that just lifts it a little bit. So coriander seeds. Now when you are grinding your spices like this, use all of the space that you've got in your pestle and mortar. You're grinding them. What you're not doing is bashing them so they fly everywhere. Grind them. You will never ever get a fine powder like the stuff that you buy, but the stuff that you buy will not give you the aromatics like this does. So I would highly recommend just buy them whole and grind them as and when I need, as and when you need them. Okay. So there's my coriander. That goes in. I'm also going to add from my spices a little bit of chili powder, Kashmiri chili powder, and a little bit of turmeric goes in as well. And that's it. Now give that all a mix through, and you should start to get this lovely vibrancy coming through. It's looking and starting to smell just like that amazing butter chicken should.
Do you ever toast your spices before you grind them?
Do I ever toast my spices before I grind them? Yes, I do. It really depends again on what I'm doing. If I was cooking something like a madras, which has a whole load of quite aromatic spices like fennel and various bits and pieces like that, then yeah, toast them first and then grind them. The thing with grinding, the thing with toasting your spices, what you're doing is you're applying heat to them so they release their natural oils. As soon as you've done that, you can't then store them, you need to use them straight away. It really, again, depends on the dish that I'm doing as to when I would sort of toast them and grind them and use them. Okay, so that is looking lovely, the colour's looking good. I'm going to go back to my chicken, because I think that is pretty much done as well. So, for the final little bits for this, I'm going to add some honey. Now honey just gives this that lovely sweetness. It gives it that unctuousness that this dish is so well known for. So a little bit of honey. So the dish won't be sweet, it will just have a hint of sweetness to it. So that goes in. Last bit out. If you can hear, that's my cat going nuts by the back door for some reason.
There's a pigeon outside.
There's a pigeon outside.
It's been the entire time we've been live.
The pigeon is tormenting my cats through the window, which is quite entertaining. Okay, so that's looking really good. Now the key aromatic of this dish, which I haven't talked about yet, is methi or fenugreek. So this is fenugreek, kasuri methi, and this is the dried herb. So if you look for fenugreek in a lot of Western supermarkets, what you'll find the little seeds or a beige powder, which is the spice that's been ground down. This is the herb. So this is the leaf of methi or of fenugreek, and it's something that we use quite a lot
If you
of.
have powder, how much of that should you use?
So there is a distinct difference between the powder and the herb. The powder is, the overriding flavour of it is bitterness, and if you add too much of it, it will completely and utterly overpower your dish. So if you don't have kasuri methi, if you don't have the herb, and you are using the powder, please, 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 just, I would recommend probably 1/4 teaspoon to begin with. This stuff you can be much more heavy-handed with, and you can just
And then
chuck it in.
if you had to substitute the chicken with another protein, what would you choose?
So if you, so one of the things that I always like to do is give substitutions, because there's a lot of people who are vegetarians or vegans and so on. This dish works really, really well with paneer. If you've ever tried paneer, it's Indian cottage cheese. It works really well with that. If you wanted to use vegetables, something meaty or chunky, like big old chunky mushrooms would work. Mushrooms and peppers would work. Those kinds of lovely flavours would be really good.
We've got someone in from Fiji, which I think we've never had someone.
Wow, we've got someone from Fiji. Who's that? What's his?
Akosita.
Akosita, have I said it right? Hello from Fiji. How are you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for letting us know where you're from. Amazing.
Butter chicken was the first dish I cooked with friends for the first day after Ramadan 12 years ago, exactly today. Thank you.
Oh wow, that's a lovely story. See, I love it. I love all these stories that come up when you're talking about food or you're cooking together. It's just amazing, you know, little things like that. Food invokes such good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this. My sauce is done, and I'm going to show you. Can you see? Now it smells really, 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 really aromatic. Can you see it?
Yeah.
It looks really good. And the chicken is done. Yes, I have asbestos hands. So there's the chicken. Now my chicken is going to go straight into here. I'm going to use the juice and the sauce and everything because I hate wasting stuff. So that's all going in. I'm not going to get rid of any of that. That goes in. Now this is why I'm not too fussed whether the chicken is cooked all the way through in the oven, because it's going to go in here. Now when that goes in, it changes the colour of the dish. But when I said it's quite a saucy dish, it should have lots of gravy and lots of sauce. So that essentially is done. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let that simmer through and let that cook. To finish the dish, one of the key things you need to do is either add a little bit of butter, which is, you know, it just finishes that butter chicken dish or the Murgh Makhani, or you can add a little bit of cream. So I'm just going to put a little bit of cream in there, and I would like to show you the difference that it makes to it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like now. Yeah. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And then I'm just going to add my cream in, just to finish it. But I'm going to just let that simmer on the back while I show you how to make naan bread. Okay, look at that. Oh, it looks good.
Can you use coconut milk instead of cream?
You can use coconut milk instead of cream. It's going to change the flavour. I wouldn't then call it butter chicken. It'd be a very different flavoured dish. Also, if you are using coconut milk, just be careful of the honey, because the sweetness from the coconut milk and then the sweetness from the honey might not be the best of combinations. So just be a bit more aware if you are using coconut cream. I would probably miss the honey out and just use coconut cream because it is sweet. Okay, so that's the difference that it makes to the colour and just that finishing dish. Amazing. So that's going to just sit at the back. Whoops.
A gosh, a gosh.
Oh my gosh! How you doing? Right. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make some chicken. It's just going to sit there now. It's going to simmer away. It's going to do what it needs to do. But I'm only going to put it on a very gentle heat because it is essentially it's cooked. But I just want all of the flavours to come together. So any other questions before we move on? Keep them coming. Right, I'm going to move these bits across here.
Do you need to keep ghee in the fridge?
So ghee is clarified butter. Clarified butter is essentially butter that's been heated up and has got all of the milk proteins have been removed from it through that process. So what that means is that it can stay on your work surface at room temperature without going off, without going rancid. So you don't have to refrigerate it if you don't want to. I don't. I have it in my cupboard.
How well will this store in the fridge?
This dish will store in the fridge really, really well. If you were listening earlier, what I tend to do is make double the amount of sauce, and I would then, before I add the cream, before I add the chicken, I would just siphon off a tub's worth and put that in the fridge, in the freezer, and that will store for up to 6 months. This butter chicken you can probably keep in the fridge for a good couple of days. Should be absolutely fine. It will just keep getting better and better the more you cook it. The more in advance you cook it, it just always tastes better the next day or the day after that.
Can you go through what's in your masala?
I will go through my masala. That seems to be a reoccurring question. I will talk about that. Before I do that, I want to talk about the naan bread. So, I'm going to show you how to make naan bread in a couple of different ways, actually. So what we've got.
Can you go a bit slower with naan as people are doing it for the first time?
So who's making naan? Are people making naan with me?
Jared is doing it. It's his first time doing it too.
Hi Jared, you're actually cooking the naan. Did you make the dough beforehand? Have you got it ready?
And especially with quantities.
Ready to go? Or are you doing it all? Because I've got my dough ready, which is what I said to people. If you haven't, I will talk you through the quantities.
Some people are making rotis.
So there's rotis being made. What else is being made?
Someone's asked, aside from naan, what do you suggest? Rice or whatever?
So for this dish, because it's really nice and creamy and buttery, just plain basmati rice, plain rice works really, really well. I like to do this with naan just because the kids love naan, and also it's a really nice dish to dunk that naan into. But I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do it. So what I posted earlier was all the ingredients that you need to make the dough. What I tend to do, and it's really easy, is plain flour. Roughly, if I say about 200 grams of plain flour will make you about 4 naan. So you can just bulk it up or reduce it depending on how many you want to make. So 400 grams of, 200 grams of plain flour, a teaspoon of yeast with probably about a tablespoon of warm water and a teaspoon of sugar. So you mix those three together first to get the yeast activated. A tablespoon and a half of yogurt goes in, a good sort of tablespoon of oil, a little bit of salt, and you literally just mix that all in there, and I just sort of put it in through the blender and blitz it up. Ideally leave it for about an hour or so just so it gets light and puffy. If anybody is struggling to get yeast, I feel your pain. There seems to be a bit of a shortage on yeast in this country. So if any of you guys out there have got yeast, send it my way. We're really struggling to find it at the moment. So I had to use some old yeast, which unfortunately meant that my dough didn't go quite to plan. So it hasn't got risen, it hasn't got nice and light and airy. So see, accidents do happen. Kitchen mishaps always happen. But hey ho, we're still going to use it, and I'm going to show you how. So I mixed that up beforehand, and I've got this lovely dough. Now, the little black seeds in this are called galonji seeds. They're like onion seeds. And it's the stuff when you go to a restaurant and you have naan bread, It's the stuff that's in the naan bread, it's those little black seeds. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 2 ways to make restaurant style naan at home. So just take your dough, and you want it to be quite thick. So naan is nice and chewy and thick and delicious. What I've got here, and I introduced you to this last week, this was my tawa, my griddle pan, my roti pan. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to make it. The first way is to use the oven. So I've got my oven on, I'm going to turn it up actually. I'm going to turn it up to 220, and I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing it, as I said. So this is the first way, this is probably the most sensible way. So you just roll it out until it's fair, you want it to be quite thick, okay? And then you pop it straight onto your griddle.
Would you make naan with wholemeal flour?
You can make naan with wholemeal flour, you can make it with atta as well. No reason why not, absolutely you can make it with wholemeal flour. So that goes onto the pan, and when we made the rotis the last time, we had all these little bubbles, and we're hoping for the same thing here, little bubbles to present themselves underneath.
Ash has asked what's the best way to make naan in a tandoor or a tawa?
So you can make, obviously I haven't got a tandoor here, so I'm going to show you how to make tandoori style naan at home. So this first method is using the oven, but the second method I'm going to show you how to do it from your kitchen with that tandoori effect. Obviously, if you've got a tandoor oven, then cook it in your tandoor, because that's what gives these rotis that special edge. So all you're looking for is a few little bubbles. And all you are doing is searing that back edge. So you've got a little bit of colour, and I'm just going to show you what I mean. So you've got that lovely flat edge. So that's the side that would have been slapped onto the side of the tandoor. And then you just pop it onto your tray, and we're going to put that into the oven. A nice hot oven. And then the second way I'm going to show you is a little bit more fun. So another nice big ball. Keep an eye on the naan. Just ordering instructions. Right, so for the second way of doing this, again, roll out your naan, but keep it nice and thick. And you can make your tear drop shape, you can make it nice and round, you can do whatever you want to it. Let's have a look in here. So my oven in there, so my naan in the oven, started to pop up like a pillow, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to bring that out before
How do you get your dough to move in a circle when you're using the oven?
How do I get my dough to move in a circle when I'm rolling it? I'd say probably 30 years of practice is where that comes from. I'm just going to get my naan out. Oh, a little bit more.
Is this recipe?
So it's puffing up.
Is this recipe in your slow cooker book?
So this recipe is not in the slow cooker book, no, it's on the website, it's in an app. Where else is it? Yeah, so just on the website, check out the website because it's there. There's also obviously a YouTube video showing you exactly what you need to do. So I'm just going to show you the naan. Oh, it's looking so good. I'm a little bit excited. It just needs a little bit of colour. I'm just going to give this a mix as well.
Butter chicken.
Oh, sorry, did you mean butter chicken?
Yes.
So, I'm so sorry. So someone just asked if this recipe's on in my slow cooker cookbook. I thought you were talking about the naan, but you were talking about the butter chicken, right? Yes, the butter chicken recipe is in the slow cooker cookbook, and it's a slightly different method, but you can absolutely cook this in your slow cooker and it's delicious. So give that a go. Right. So look at that. It's all puffed up and beautiful. So that is looking lovely. Yum. So that's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is, what we're going to do is, I'm just going to get a brush and I'm going to very gently brush one side of the naan with water. And I'm going to put that onto my tawa. It's a little bit too big. There we go. I'm going to have to cut it off because I've made it too big. There we go. So there you go. You see immediately it starts to puff up. Okay. So you get all of that lovely puffing up bits. Now, you might need to just angle the camera so you can see this. So you see how it looks. Now, once that's starting to puff up beautifully like that, and you get all these lovely little bits of air pockets coming into it, what we do is we turn it over and we cook it directly over the flame. And that is how you get your amazing tandoori style flavour and look as well. So you keep looking at it, it's not quite brown enough. Oh, looks so good. And obviously if you've got a bigger pan, this is quite hard to do in anything other than a roti pan. So someone was asking me.
Is it the water that helps it stick?
So it's the water, pasting that water on helps it stick. So that's what you're looking for. Look at that. Amazing, fresh naan. I'm just going to use my knife just to get it. Now, you tell me that isn't as good as what you get in a restaurant.
Can you
Super easy, super
the
delicious.
same cloth method that you use?
So with naan, so the cloth method that I used to show you how to make the rotis last week, you can't use that for naan. It's a completely different sort of dish really. So I'm just going to very, very quickly have a little taste of the chicken. Just make sure seasoning wise and everything it's all okay. Oh, that's so good. That's really, really delicious. Really creamy. Super tasty. Oh. Right, so. Okay. So I'm just going to dish this up, and while I'm doing that, I'm just going to let you know actually what I have just put on my website, and I will be posting it on Instagram and so on. I've put together an ebook which is all about store-covered cooking, ideas and recipes to help you at this tricky time where we're all sort of stuck inside and we can't really do anything, but it's just all about ideas of how to use chickpeas and various other sort of ingredients that are available to us, but just to make things a little bit more exciting. So you can download the ebook from the website, and as I said, I will post it on various social media channels over the next few weeks. But what I'm going to do is all proceeds from that ebook are going to be sent to the NHS. So I'm just going to do a little bit of fundraising really. So if you have, you know, if you're a bit stuck, I've put together something like 60 recipes within that ebook. and it's really interactive content, so it links through to lots of different areas, videos and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like having me showing you what to do with a lot of these recipes. So I will post the link afterwards, but please do download it, and as I said, it's all for charity. I'm going to donate all of the funds that I get from that to the NHS, so please have a look and let me know what you think. Okay, so here we go. There is that amazing butter chicken. You can finish this with a little bit of cream, which I'm just going to show you how to do. A little bit of cream goes in. So you can finish it with some garam masala, a little bit of cream just to make it look pretty. And we've got two amazingly delicious naan, which is just yummy. They smell really good. So there you go. Very quick sort of stop through my homemade butter chicken or Murgh Makhani and homemade naan. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in from all over the world. I will be doing another one next week again. I haven't actually decided on the dish yet. Maybe I'm thinking I might do, because the weather's getting so nice, we might do something like tandoori chicken possibly, which is really easy to do, and maybe some lamb kebabs or something, just sort of for a bit of outdoor dining. I hope everybody's well. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you so much for tuning in, for all of those who have made the effort. And as I said, thank you. Take care, and I will see you all again next week. Big love. Anything else? Do I need to mention? Any other questions? No? Thank you, guys.
Did you use chicken breast?
I use chicken breast and thighs as well. If you've got any more questions, please keep them coming, because I'll spend the next hour or so and I'll respond to all of your questions, because they do keep coming. But thank you, as I said, for tuning in. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I will let you get back to your Friday evening. I'm going to tuck into this, so I'm very happy. And I will see you all again next week. Take care, guys. Bye. Still bye-bye.